their own
Please,
organization.
let's leave our discussions on Namibia. The thing is streaming live now on YouTube.
I gotta say they are quite entertaining. We should pick up from there. It's a discussion.
Now, Mexa,
Mr. Derek is here.
We must TV wakulama for how to
we have a comrade from Uganda here.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Hey, what is name? Yes.
Derek. Hey. Good to see you all.
Hey, how are you? I'm Dominga. I'm from Namibia.
I think our brother is not having very good network.
No.
Oh, what a shame.
Next, you must call after this.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
I'm Derek from Uganda, Kampala.
Great.
Nice to meet you, Derek.
Oh, then, can you get me now?
Yes, perfectly loud and clear. Unfortunately, it seems like your video is frozen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me check my. You can get me now.
Your voice is very clear. However, your video is not.
So let me change the network.
All right. We are supposed to be going live in a few minutes. Actually, technically, we are live. But in a few minutes, we'll start. We hope the rest will join in. We're waiting for Faith from Kenya. Yeah. Okay. We have some people that are unknown to me. Someone by the name Penonjo Lonata. I don't think they were meant to be a part of the meet today. Is it one of your acquaintances?
There are people joining, I think, as audiences or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the audience.
Okay. So sometimes we prefer to keep the audience on YouTube to avoid, so that we can have order. But we will let in a few people just to see how it goes.
Okay, no problem.
Yes. Let's hope Joseph gets to join us soon. Big Popper, can you see my phone somewhere there? Thank you.
No, there's nothing. It keeps on doing shh. I don't know. But the other two, they are working perfectly. Okay. You think that's it?
Okay. Let me try to reach Joseph. Okay, our brother Derek is back.
Oh, just like that. Yeah, I will come. Oh, come on.
Yeah. Peter, can you get me?
I can get you loud and clear, brother.
Okay.
This is perfect. It seems your network now, it's working perfectly well.
I just have
Okay.
Yes. How are you doing today?
We'll start in a few minutes.
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day here. Actually, it's evening now, I gotta say. It's 7:30. It's been raining very much in India. But we hope that the rain will wash away Corona from this space.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, Joseph.
It also just started raining recently.
Great.
Max.
Yes.
Did you register?
Register for what?
Second semester, Mos.
No, I did.
Okay.
We're trying to finish this degree, but it's not easy. The research is not easy.
What's your research topic? Why am I hearing-
Protectionism in the US-China trade war.
Nice.
Okay, there's another person joining.
Okay, more people join. Somebody's joining. Derek, how's
Yes, yes.
Uganda?
Uganda is fine. How is that side? Uganda is fine. It's only that it has started raining,
Okay.
but we are doing good. We are getting ready for elections 2021, and probably
Oh,
nominations starting up next, yeah,
okay, great.
next month. Mm.
Namibia
So how is that
good.
side?
Namibia.
Mhm.
We're doing good.
Mhm.
We are just very, very much crowded by the coronavirus. The cases keep on going up every day, but we're coping. We're also preparing for the regional as well as local authority elections. It's scheduled in November. So we're really working hard and engaging the people on the ground.
Don't worry.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How is it that side? You're free to reach the communities? Are the politicians free to reach the communities? Or
Excuse
because of
me?
COVID?
Oh,
Are
no.
politicians free to reach the people?
Well, not really, but I mean, we're under lockdown now. The capital city and some of the, yes? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Max Millard. Right? Did I pronounce it
Yes,
right?
yes.
What's up, my
Yeah,
brother?
you pronounced it very. You tried. You
Mhm.
tried. I'm good. How are
I
you?
tried my best. Where are you from?
Sorry for that, guys.
I think
Next,
Peter is trying to speak, but his audio is off.
I just realized that. I just
Yeah.
I
Speaking.
wanted to know before, when we were still waiting for the other members to join, how is the situation in Uganda? Because I've been following the political the political climate there is a bit windy, so to say, especially for your party. How are things going on there now?
The situation, of course, is so tight. Us being a young, driven generation that wants to take over power,
yeah,
and fight this dictator that has been in power for 35 years.
Yeah.
And the government is announcing the scientific elections, whereby you have to go to TVs and radio stations to see that you communicate to the people because of COVID. However, most of the ministers this side reach out to the people and have rallies. But when it comes to the opposition or to the people power supporters and candidates, they are not allowed to interact and reach the people. Police comes out brutally and arrests and everything. But we are pushing on. Are we live yet, Peter?
We are actually live. We are actually live.
Can I just get a clarity from Peter? There are two pages. The other one is live.
Yes, one is being recorded, and then the YouTube one is live, right?
Absolutely right. So YouTube is live. You can share that link with all your followers. Now, this was predominantly for the members who are going to be discussing, the panelists. However, because I think the link was shared with some of your ardent followers, so I decided to open in the doors for a couple of people. However, you can just follow whoever wants to follow. They can find us via YouTube. I did share the link, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we will sorry, I think we advertised that on our statuses, so we thought it was going to be live. So yeah, it's fine.
That is totally fine. I mean, it's going to be good if we can have members who can contribute and ask questions, interesting questions. It's always very interesting to have questions coming from different sides, people with different perspectives. It makes the discussion more and more lively. But unfortunately, 3 or 4 members have not been able to join in. I guess Joseph is still struggling. I haven't been able to catch up with Faith, and Mwenda is still trying to join in, I guess. Okay, I'm waiting. Let me just have a quick call with Mwenda.
What time is it in Uganda?
It's 8 minutes past 5.
Oh, okay. It's 8 minutes past 4 here. So we are an hour late compared to you guys. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
You should come to Namibia someday.
I should come someday, of course. I would come.
Yes, I'll
You
send
should
the
come to Uganda
invitation.
someday. Prepare the invitation soon.
Yes, and then you should also make a way that I come and check out Uganda.
Just right after Corona.
Yeah, it has been a really setback for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting what you just said earlier on about political leaders from the opposition parties are not allowed to engage the people because of the restrictions that has been set in place. I think with Namibia is a bit different. I mean, obviously that too, but obviously I think the ruling party has been very, 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 very strategic in regards to that. We like right now we are under lockdown, so they have prohibited the amount of people that should be in a place, or that should gather in a place. So obviously those are some of the political tactics that they have in place, because obviously they know that they can actually campaign a month before the actual elections, because they own the state machineries, and they have cemented themselves quite well, because they've been in power for the past 30 years. So I think where that is coming from, or what they actually want to achieve. So those are some of the tactics that they are actually playing in the name of coronavirus.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know so many governments are taking advantage of the coronavirus to hurt out their opponents. So I think the same thing that is happening in Uganda, whereby totally we are not allowed to move, we are not allowed to reach out to the people, and yet the officials of government are moving and having large crowds of meetings. So
exactly. And they have been donating food, they have been giving this and that. So that is sort of political gimmick, that, yeah, we're providing you guys with this and this. So definitely you need to vote us in power again. But I guess the people are now tired, they are now political conscious. So yeah.
Okay, so perfect. We have Joseph coming in. And we have Madalitso Mwenda. The only person who's not been able to join us per se at the moment, it's Faith. But I think we do have enough people to join in, and then I think Faith will be able to follow with us once she's able to log in. We have Madalitso, good. Okay, perfect. We're hoping to have the discussion for an hour maximum. But because of time, I think we're gonna try to adjust as much as we can. It's good to have Joseph Kalimbo here. Joseph, you're on mute. Unmute yourself and say hi to your people.
Hi, thank you for joining in.
Yeah. Perfect.
Hey, Joseph.
Hi, Dominga. Sorry, I was trying to connect. My phone was misbehaving, but then I'm online now.
Oh, I realized that. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Peter, can you please grant us permission to record? How are you, Joseph?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good.
So at the moment, only the admin can be able to record. But I'll share this record with everybody after the meeting.
Great.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Madalitso, are you there? Mr. Madalitso, are you there, sir? Mr. Mwenda, I think you're on mute. Could you possibly unmute yourself? If you can hear me. Brilliant.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How are you doing today?
Great.
Okay, perfect. It will be so wonderful if we can get to see your face.
Okay, let me unmute my video.
Okay,
So that
that'd
people
be
can
good.
see me.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I guess we're good to go at the moment. Welcome you all, ladies and gentlemen. I think we do have one lady just at the moment, but I'm sure we do have amazing and wonderful ladies watching us from different parts of the world. Mr. Maximilian. Okay. Yeah. It's a wonderful day, and it's a pleasure to host all of you today. I gotta say, before hosting this event, just a few minutes ago, I did get a bit nervous, and I had a call with Dominga, and she was equally nervous, I would say. But I think after getting to interact with her, we've been able to purge or expand that feeling, and now I think we are going to do whatever we can, or the best we can, to dissect the topic that we are going to be discussing today, that the role of African youths. Okay. Right. The role of African youths in influencing politics in Africa. So once again, I want to welcome all of you. I think I had shared the outline of the way our discussion will be going on today. We're going to have, as I'm doing right now, an introduction by the host. And then after that, we're going to have introductions by the speakers or the panelists. And then we are going to go straight and dive into the main topic, where we're going to be engaging with different topics, but primarily focusing on the primary umbrella, which is the role of African youths. And it's a wonderful day. It's wonderful because we do have a galaxy of enthusiastic youth leaders from different parts of Africa. And without further ado, I think you can all sense my nervousness. I'm gonna roll the dice and introduce Dominga as our first panelist. Please introduce yourself to everyone who's watching. And then after that, we're going to Mr. Maximilian. Dominga, can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yes. Your network is tripping.
So sorry. All right.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you. I hope everybody else can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you, Dominga.
Yes. Good afternoon, Africa, and the people in the diaspora. My name is Dominga Ndala. I'm the Secretary General of the Youth Command of the Landless People's Movement, the third largest political party in Namibia. I'm a graduate of political science. I majored in political science and international relations. I'm currently pursuing my honors degree in law, and I am a parliamentary researcher in the office of the Chief Whip of the Landless People's Movement.
Brilliant, brilliant. All right, we're definitely looking forward to an exciting discussion with you. I did have a talk with you, I think, throughout the week, and I can say we're waiting for you to bring in the spirit. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Okay. We're just looking forward to get that buzz from you. You have a lot of interesting things to share with us. Mr. Maximilian, please.
Yes, thank you very much, colleagues. My name is Maximilian Shekupeka Shimune. I am the spokesperson of the Popular Democratic Movement Youth League, which is now the youth wing of the official opposition in Namibia, the PDM, the Popular Democratic Movement. I'm also a student activist, currently serving as the University of Namibia Speaker of Parliament for the SRC. And I'm also the Secretary for Political Education for what is known as the Students' Union of Namibia, the only student union that is representing the vanguard agenda of the student masses in Namibia. So basically, that is who I am, and I'm busy completing my final year in BA in Political Science and Sociology at the University of Namibia.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Maximilian. And then we have Mr. Derek Nyeko from Uganda. Kindly, sir, introduce us to yourself and tell us the wonderful job that you've been doing in Uganda.
Yes, good evening, Africa, and everyone in the diaspora. I'm Nyeko Derek, the People Power Coordinator of Kampala Metropolitan, the biggest political party per now in Uganda. That is the National Unity Platform. I'm also currently the Youth Councillor, representing the young people in the Capital City Council Authority. I'm as well aspiring to be the next member of parliament of my constituency. And I'm so humbled and happy to interact with the rest of you colleagues.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm gonna keep Joseph the best for the last. I'm gonna bounce to Mr. Madalitso Mwenda. Sir, Mr. Madalitso, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Well, I think I'm having problems in setting my camera, so I'll keep trying. But I think for the meantime, I can just introduce myself so that people know me who I am.
Brilliant.
Greetings, everyone. I am Madalitso Mwenda from the Republic of Malawi. That's the southern part of Africa. I am the Information and Advocacy Officer under the Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, but I'm also the Communications Coordinator as well as the Desk Conference Coordinator for the famous Human Rights Defenders Coalition, which has been, for the past 12 months, been fighting impunity in Malawi until when we ousted the former regime under the DPP-led regime. I'm currently its communications person whom I handle all issues of publicity, including representing my institution in international bodies. I'm happy to join a team of vibrant young people. I'm sure this discussion is going to bear fruitful outcomes on how we're going to roll out some of the issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Madalitso. We also look forward to engaging with you and interacting with what you've been doing. And I'm sure a lot of people outside there are looking forward to hear from you. Now, Mr. Joseph Kalimbwe, first of all, I have to thank Joseph because he's the man who has organized this conversation today. He's the man who connected me with all of you. And I'm very thankful for this opportunity, Joseph. So kindly introduce yourself to us and let the people who know you and those who don't know you get to know what you've been up to.
Well, my name is Joseph Kalimbwe. I'm in the United Party for National Development Youth League, which is the main opposition political party in Zambia. And currently we've been involved in various activities. And previously I was in the student movement where I was in the Student Representative Council of my university, which was the University of Namibia. And we've learned a various amount of experience from those issues. And now we're trying to integrate them into national issues and how we can be able to help young people get represented. So basically that's just a brief biography of me, and perhaps out of politics, I also write books, and I'm a columnist and other things. So it's a great honor to be able to join these vibrant young people and engage on this stage.
Thank you very much, Joseph. So without much ado, I think we're gonna try and jump into eating the main steak. It's unfortunate also that we don't have Faith yet, but once she joins from Kenya, Faith Lusaka from Kenya, Kenya Youth Senate, she'll be able to join us, join the flow from where we are at the moment. But now that we have only one lady in the building, I think we're gonna just put the spotlight on you for starters, Dominga. And yes,
that's not fair.
Well, absolutely. Well, now when I was having a conversation with you this week, you spoke to me about something that was very profound and prolific. You spoke about academic emancipation, education. That is on the forefront of what you're doing, and you think that emancipation in terms of mental emancipation, or bringing the youth education that helps them to emancipate themselves from the colonial thinking or colonial way of thinking. It is one of your primary agendas. Do you want to put us up to speed about that?
Can you just repeat the question? I have lost you for a minute.
I'm sorry. So in your manifesto, one of the things that we discussed about, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you, Dominga is planning for a parliamentary seat in the coming elections, if I'm not wrong.
Local authority, yes.
Yes. And so we did discuss about her aspirations in the government, and we spoke about her manifesto. And in her manifesto, there were 5 pillars, and I'm sure she's going to put us up to speed about that. And so I think that is the best place to start. Tell us about your 5 pillars in your manifesto, please.
Well, thank you for the opportunity again, Mr. Peter. Well, the 5 pillars, it's basically our political party manifesto, and obviously our individual manifesto should obviously be intact with the political with the movement's manifesto. So one of the pillars that we are very keen on about is obviously agrarian reform. I think it's time that we become food secure. So our priorities obviously to turn Namibia into a green revolution. We want to become food secure. We want to capitalize on the agricultural sector. So I think that's one of the important sector in the world, rather, or in Namibia. And then the second one, obviously, it's to improve the creative arts industry in Namibia. I think for so long we have neglected that industry, and we should admit that Africans in particular, or the youth in particular, are very talented, they are innovative, they have fresh ideas. So I think it's time that we intensify that industry so that it contributes to the GDP of the country. I think if we have to compare other African countries or other countries in the world that have capitalized or intensified that industry, they have actually done quite well. When you have to compare, or when you look at the arts and creative industry in America, such as the Hollywood, or rather the Bollywood in India, I think it has done so well that it has employed a lot of youth in particular, and it has also contributed immensely to the development of the country. So that is one of the things that we want to look at. And then obviously the other pillar is obviously to reform the health sector in our country. As we all know that African countries, or particularly in Namibia, our health sector is deteriorating. Our hospitals infrastructures has dilapidated. So those are some of the things that we actually want to reform. And then obviously the other pillar is to reform the educational sector. We wanted an educational curriculum that speaks to the socio-economic needs of our country, or to say we want a decolonized curriculum, one that is one that we as Namibians can identify with. And then obviously the last pillar is to transform the socio-economic needs of our people. I mean, that obviously includes reducing the unemployment rate in the countries in the country. As it stands, Namibia, the unemployed youth in Namibia stands at 46.2%, if I'm not wrong. And I think and it doesn't make sense because the youth make up 60% of the population. So about a quarter of them are unemployed. So those are some of the things that we like to look into and to reform. So yeah, thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. And now just hold on to that thought. I'm gonna come back to you, but at the moment, I'm gonna bounce directly to Mr. Derek Nyeko from Uganda. Mr. Derek, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Peter.
Oh, okay, perfect. I'm gonna try and connect what Ms. Dominga has spoken about, especially two main things. That one is youth unemployment, and the second one is education, a good education. And also she spoke about agrarian revolution, but we're gonna come to that point later. Now, let's talk about the situation of youth unemployment in Uganda and how you as a youth, because you do have a very vibrant party that has a very young generation, that is very, that has the vigor, that has the energy. How are you looking forward to transform and work on these sectors that are actually the main pinpoints or the biggest challenges that we have in Africa?
Thank you so much, Comrade Peter. I would like to inform the whole of Africa that Uganda has one of some of the best policies when it comes to the youth and other sectors. But the only problem we have here in Uganda is implementation. These policies being implemented, we have institutions that do not implement. We are good at paper, at having the documents on paper and the policies on paper, but implementation. Well, Uganda, like other countries, we face the unemployment levels that are so high. But as a youth movement, we know the only thing we can call for is accountability, responsibility, to say that different institutions play their role in different perspectives to see that the young people of this country benefit. We have come up openly to call for the wage bill, whereby a young person that very young person who is 19 and is starting up to work has a percentage or a particular amount of money that is meant to be paid when he reaches work. So many young people are exploited here in Uganda, and we believe because the government does not prioritize it, and it looks at it as we are attracting investors, and it does not look at the nationalists. Are they benefiting? Are they developing? So as a youth movement, we are looking at first of all implementing the wage bill, so that most of these young people can afford to eat, can afford to rest, can afford to feed their kids, can afford proper housing, and can prosper. Well, as same as to the education system, one of the things that has broken Uganda's economy is corruption. That corruption whereby lots of money is being allocated in the budgets, but at the end of the day is not allocated, is not channeled to the proper beneficiaries. So we have so many schools and so many young people are reading under trees, and at the end of the day, a big percentage does not reach the university level because they cannot access proper education, they cannot access the rightful teachers, they cannot access reading materials, they cannot access schools. Some of the areas in Uganda, schools cannot be accessed at. And it's all due because government does not prioritize those things that the youth are looking at. Whereas corruption has hidden most of our institutions, and the young people, all we request for is a fair opportunity for all of us to open up and participate towards the growth of our country. A group of leaders who have been in position for the last 35 years have taken it to themselves that they should be in office even at 80.
Yes.
So as young people, and they're giving all this space for those that even we think that can no longer handle work in the civic offices, in the government offices, even in other offices. They are not giving young people priority. So we are looking at it as a youthful movement that is willing to that is going to take over power.
Perfect.
2021
Perfect.
to say that we solve some of those. Yeah.
All right. Now, thank you very much for that, for bringing, for driving our conversation towards that direction, and talking about the youth and the power of the youth and the way you are looking to influence change on that front. And I'm gonna carry on that conversation to Mr. Maximilian before I go to Mr. Kalimbwe. I did have this conversation with you yesterday about the youth, and we spoke about education. And we did have a very interesting. You did have a very interesting perspective. One of the things that you mentioned is it is not the work. And my question, maybe let me reiterate my question. We spoke about academic emancipation, and that is also one of the things, or education emancipation. That's also one of the things that you pointed out in our discussion. But when I asked you about the role of academic institutions in rolling out youths that are employable, youths that are ready to create change, youths that have the capacity to start entrepreneurial ecosystems, you said clearly that it is not the role of university or academic institutions to create this. It is the role of the state and the private sector and the public sector. Could you please talk to us about that?
Yes, thank you very much, Peter. I just want to confirm before I continue. Am I hearable and seeable on this thing?
Very loud and clear, sir.
Yes, Max, we can hear you.
Okay, no, I was very concerned because it's making funny things on my side here. Yes, thank you very much, Comrade Peter Gogi.
You're welcome.
Yes, it's very important that we engage in this discussion in a very objective way. First of all, the discussion on the narrative that the university as an academic institution must start looking at phasing out certain degrees and courses and so forth. So to sort of accommodate these graduates in the market is very subjective. First of all, the university as an academic institution is not a job creating institution. The role of the university, just as the role of a primary school or a secondary school is to create a learning conducive environment where learning takes place. It is then not the job of universities, and you must make it very clear as young people, to create employment for people. The role of the university is very clear. You go to university to go and expand your knowledge and become, even if we were to advance the argument that, okay, let us face certain courses out because they are not marketable anymore. That doesn't even make sense because we're enrolling more students in the medicine, more students in the engineering, more students in the veterinary sciences. Eventually, these courses themselves also become overburdened anyways, and then they become redundant in the market. So the two arguments don't make sense. And the individuals themselves must come together and see where innovative ways can be employed to create jobs in the market, particularly jobs that are very respondent to the 21st century. So my argument with Peter in that regard was that let us not put unnecessary pressure on the universities. The universities are there for learning and not to create jobs for the youth.
Okay, perfect. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can. We can hear you.
Perfect. So I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna stick to you still. On the same note. So when we speak about the role of the public sector, when we speak about the role of the private sector, now let's talk about the role of the youth and the way we imagine it in this very discussion. So when Kalimbwe came to me with this topic, the role of youth in influencing change, especially influencing political change, what is your perspective on that front?
Well, that is what the discussion is about today, Peter. And the role of the African youth in influencing political change is quite interesting as we look in history. For a fact, we know that African youth are far outweigh the elders on the continent. In fact, the latest statistics show that the youth in Africa are about more than 80% on the African continent. And it is quite a huge number. But the very surprising thing with these numbers are that while youth are the majority on the African continent, we find that African youth do not participate in active politics. While there are movements such as Feast Must Fall and the Arab Spring that took place in Egypt, in Libya, and Tunisia, those are just de facto movements that start 1 or 2 years and then they die out. But the problem with that is that these movements are not sustainable and are not sort of legal formations that can influence the political formations in the long run. What we must encourage African youth to do is to engage in political parties, in as much as Feast Must Fall is important, in as much as the Arab Spring was important. Very important movements, so to say, that were driven by youth.
Yes. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Did you stop there?
Yes,
seems
I
he has gone
guess
off.
so.
It seems it's gone on. Okay. All right. Well, he was driving the conversation to a very interesting point because it was getting political now, especially talking about the Arab Spring, and now we're going to be coming to that now. So I'm gonna pick it up to that. I think Maximilian is back. Yeah. Okay. He's not back yet. Well, I'm gonna pick it up, and I'm gonna come to Mr. Joseph Kalimbwe. Chief Kalimbo, you've been very much involved in UNDP. Is it UNDP, UPNDP? I just struggle with the pronunciation. And you also are you are the student leader in the University of Namibia. In your university, sorry. I don't know why I'm so used to University of Namibia. So you've been very much active on that front. But then one of the things that I saw, and I'll actually bring it up to you, one of the things that we have realized is when youths get involved in politics and then they make it, let's say they make it, they start, and I had this conversation as well with you, madam. When youths make it, when young people make it, what they do is instead of fighting for what they started for, or instead of maintaining the same vigor, they go back up there, they become the bourgeoisie, all right? And then they try to protect and maintain the status quo. And one of the good examples we had there is an example of the 24-year-old who got into the parliament, the Namibian young man who got into the parliament, and now he's been named as one of the most political people. So what do you say about that? What do you think now? Because the youths do get the chance. Some of the youths do get the chance, but when they get there, things become different. What is your take on that, Mr. Kalimbwe?
Perhaps, I don't know if it would be better if you allow Max, because I see it's online. Perhaps if you could be able to finish what he was explaining.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. Max. Hello, Mr. Max.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
All right. The good thing is you're back.
Yes. What I was saying is,
yes,
what we are seeing predominantly on the African continent is that, yes, the youth are involved in political activity, but these are de facto political activities such as Feast Must Fall, such as the Arab Spring. But the problem with this sort of de facto short-term political formations is that they don't last forever. So number one, what we are supposed to do as youth is that we are supposed to get involved in political parties. Feast Must Fall is not good enough. It will die in 2 years. The Arab Spring, if it achieves its objective, it will die out. But political formations are forever, and you have a much better chance at changing the political landscape through political parties. And we saw that predominantly in Namibia last year, where youth such as Dominga Dala, such as myself, such as Utara Motu, Emma, and so forth, we actively decided to get involved in party politics, and we're able to influence the decision-making processes. And today in Namibia, there are a number of 20-year-olds that are in the National Assembly. So that is what we get. You have to get straight at the onset. Number two, and tackle if we are ready to get involved in a political party. There is the problem of that systematically political formations in Africa try their best to keep young people out of decision-making processes. How do they do this? They do this through legal obstacles. They set the age, for example, to run for the National Assembly at 30 years old. To run for the president of a ruling party in a particular country, you have to be 35 years old or you have to be 40-years old. So you also have to remove the legal obstacles that are there for us to participate fully in political activity. For example, why do you need to be 35-year-old to be a president if you are knowledgeable enough to vote as an 18-year-old? So these are the particular legal frameworks that we have to identify before we participate fully and take our space as the African youth. And Peter, I told you this earlier. There is no reason why we are not supposed to take power as youth in Africa.
Yes.
We are by far the significant majority on the African continent.
Yes.
We must take in fact, in most of the African countries, the president has to be under 40, for example, because that is the demographics of the continent currently. So it's unacceptable that we have 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds that are presidents of these countries. But as I said, these are the two obstacles. Number one, it's the obstacle of being involved in an active political party. And number two is the legal frameworks that are there within the parties themselves that are hindering the youth as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And now actually picking up from there, also you mentioned very well about the hindrances that affect or that stop or act as barriers for young people to get actively involved in politics. We've seen a good example is Uganda, where Mr. Derek represents. We've seen how the government the government is using the machinery to stop the opposition from campaigning. We've seen police brutality, acts of police brutality in places like Kenya. You know, we've been able to encounter such things. Now it's we are very fortunate that we have Mr. Madalitso Mwenda here, who is an activist and a human rights defender. And so, Mr. Madalitso, can you hear me, please?
I can hear you.
Brilliant. So you have been on the forefront of these things. You are a human rights defender. You've been very actively involved in this sphere. Can you tell us what can we do as young people to be able to mitigate these challenges or to overcome these barriers or these obstacles and be able to create a way or open a way for us to be involved actively in the political game rather?
Well, thanks very much, Ngugi, for the opportunity for me to speak to you.
Yes.
Before maybe I open up, let me just open up with a quote from one of the famous guys in this world, specifically in Zambia. That's Michael Sata. I had to say the surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold a higher esteem, and those who think alike than those who think differently.
Yes.
Let me start opening up my discussion by giving that quote. I've said I've been one of those guys who has been a front runner in terms of demanding accountability in Malawi, and I'm sure those of you who have been following the Malawi's struggle, I think you could appreciate what has been happening. But I think going forward to what you have asked, I would say that one of the aspects which I think youth have in as far as fighting in a struggle is concerned is vigilance. I'm talking of vigilance here. Without vigilance, I don't think so if Malawians could have been celebrating of the struggle that they had undergone through. One point I've seen is that most, I think, young people have been denied the access to actively participate in politics. But I think at the same time, I've also seen that I think young people lack that sense of humor, which can push them into the desire on what they need most. Learning from the Malawians' experience, I think young people were open enough. They were tired of, they were open enough, and they were strong enough. Because in a struggle, you have to be strong, you have to be open enough, and again, you have to be determined. Without these three angles, you are nothing. You are twice defeated. Some say.
Okay.
So, taking the angle of what's the law of young people in politics and what does it take for young people to reach that agenda, I would say that I think the first thing that I think we need to put in place is the spirit of interest in the political agenda. Because, you know, all issues that we fight are governance issues. They are political issues in nature.
Yes.
And without a political element, I don't think so if we can achieve these things. That's why I think if you look at proof, it's not Aristotle had to say that each and every human being is a political animal. Because the things that we fight for are political in nature.
Yes.
Therefore, if we don't add such kind of an element, we are nothing. If you ask in my capacity to say what was the major strategy, I think, or what was the major ego that pushed you into the struggle to an extent that sometimes I could be even threatened, I would tell you that I think I was strong enough to challenge the political leaders who were by then in power. What did I challenge? I told them that I was stronger than they were. Just
Brilliant.
as Michael said, I think the quote I was putting in some 2 minutes ago, that I think the easiest way that you can empower a young person is when you give him the desire that he can look different from others.
Yes.
I challenged my fellow politicians to say, no, enough is enough. I think we are lacking the ego that young people can stand up. And if you look at the challenge that I went through in Malawi, you would even be shocked to say, is this what was happening? I underwent a very, very difficult struggle. Our houses were being attacked.
Yes.
Even Patika, where even petrol bombing our houses. We would live in fear sometimes, right?
Yes.
But he knew for sure that I think we had the strength that we could easily defeat. As long as we are strong,
Yes.
everything is possible.
Yes.
So one way that I would send to my fellow young men in Africa, including the ones that currently are participating in this discussion, I would say that let's remain strong, let's be determined, and let's be focused on what we need in Africa. Otherwise, without these two things, I don't think so if we can go up front in as far as participating in politics is concerned. I'm mindful that there are a number of challenges. I think it should be Joseph, if not Peter, if not the other colleague from Uganda has clearly highlighted to say the political framework, even the legal framework, as well as the social framework, have to be nurtured in a sense that they can be able to accommodate young people. Because sometimes if these frameworks are not able to accommodate young people, this is why sometimes the voice is suppressed. As a result, we leave such kind of issues to grow old. I would use the term grow old politicians rather than young people. But otherwise, young people have got a role to play.
Yes.
If you talk of Malawi, you find that almost 70% of the population are young people.
Yes.
If you talk of Zambia, I think we share the same percentage. The same applies with Uganda and the likes. So you can see that if we sum up such kind of figures, young people have got a lot to play. If we went to victory in Malawi, it's because of the law of young people. Without the law of young people, I don't think so if Malawi could have been where it is at this stage. I think let me stop here for now.
Well, brilliant. You know, that actually creates makes a lot of sense. But I'm still hanging, and there's still a question or a cloud of hanging in my head. And it's about how we young people view politics, or what is our idea of politics. And when Mr. Madalitso, you spoke about the quote by Aristotle, it also brought something. It reminded me of something. If you don't take interest in politics, politics will take interest in you. So regardless, you cannot avoid politics in your life. You know, and so I'm gonna try to indulge Joseph Kalimbwe, and Mr. Joseph, you've been very active. You've written books. You are a very active young leader. But now my question comes, because we've had this discussion before, and now we're trying to get into the actual flow of the actual problems happening in Africa. One of them is, we've seen a lot of young people talk about the neo-colonialism by the Chinese in Africa. There's a huge number of Chinese coming in Africa, investing in Africa, employing our young people, and most of them are complaining. If you see in Kenya, we do have the SGR, the railway line, where you see it is run by the Chinese. But a bunch of Kenyan folks, very young people, they are complaining that the government has sold the country. But in turn, the main question is, while all that is happening, what is the youth doing? And so, Joseph, this is my question to you. And because this is a very political issue, it has been politicized. What do you think? What do you think, or what is your opinion? What is your view of what young people can do to be on the center stage of these things? For instance, for starters, even getting the jobs, getting the projects, or even influencing the decisions made by government in such situations.
Well, thank you very much. I just wanted to start, I think just a few minutes ago, I was having a conversation with someone, and they were saying they wanted to get involved in a certain production, and then the Chinese were favored over them as being citizens.
Yes.
You see, the Chinese they have taken over the African market in terms of production in the mines and almost in every other sector.
Yes.
And pumping in a lot of money in African markets.
Yes.
But then we have young people that are taking a huge percentage of the population that are not actively involved in issues of national governance and political involvement. Let's take, for instance, what is happening currently in Southern Africa.
Yes.
The Chinese have taken over places such as Angola, the oil production processes that side, and in Mozambique. So we have a percentage of young people in Angola, for instance, that have been silenced, and there was a family that was actively involved in making sure that the resources of Angola are taken away, the Dos Santos family, and those issues have now been left to the Angolians, and they're having issues of now finding ways of how they can be able to actively get involved.
Yes.
But then the Chinese are coming in with a lot of money, and the money is sometimes in the pallets, like it's so huge, it's tempting, and we have our leaders in Africa that are not in so much pressure in making sure that the Chinese are bringing on the table good policies, and policies that can be able to favor the citizens.
Yes.
I don't believe the West were good to Africa. I equally don't believe all the policies that have been signed by Africans and the Chinese for the benefit of all citizens. But I think if you have the right leadership in place, the leaders that are caring for the citizens in the first place, we can be able to have a situation where we do away with certain issues that are currently going on in the continent.
Yes.
We have a huge number of young people that are unemployed. If you are employed, you are probably in your circle, maybe there are only 2 or 3 of you. It happens all over the continent.
Yes.
If they're having access to certain resources, it could be perhaps maybe they are connected to politicians, maybe their family members have got connections. So these are the issues that our young people are facing across the African continent, and we need young people to actively get involved, and the involvement should not just be about going to the elections to vote. They must be questioning from the beginning. How do we make sure that we question the leaders that we have at the moment? How do we make sure that we get involved throughout the processes and not just during the election day to go and vote for the leader that we want? So how do we make sure that the people that are in parliament are addressing our issues the way they're supposed to be addressed? So I don't think the involvement of young people should only come in when it's time for voting. It must be a continuous process that happens on a continuous basis.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying that it's important that we get young people to be actively involved in political processes, even if some of them are not so much interested in politics, because everything that we do in this world, it evolves around politics. So
Absolutely.
study politics, someone might study medicine, but then we have a politician that doesn't have good ideas making decisions on their behalf. So it's very important that young people are active in that process in making sure that they get people that are competent to represent them.
Brilliant. Interesting is we do have quite a good number of people today, and trying to maintain the. Sorry, I gotta leave one of the device. Okay, I keep hearing my own echo. So maintaining an interesting flow and keeping everyone there, it's quite an effort, but I'm doing my best. So thank you for being extremely patient with me. And so I would like to try and indulge you once again, the only lady in the building today, Dominga. Earlier in our conversation, we spoke about the situation in Namibia, and there was quite an interesting discourse that you had with Mr. Max, you know, and I think I'm quite intrigued to pick up from there, if that's okay with you, Mr. Maximilian and Ms. Dominga.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
All right. And this is quite interesting because it gives us an opportunity or a window of opportunity to see how young people are actively involved in creating change or impacting change in Africa, or the work on the ground, on a more pragmatic sense. And so, Madam Dominga, or Comrade Dominga, if you allow me to call you that, you are involved in the Landless People Party in Namibia. Am I right or am I right?
Correct.
Okay. And so you did speak about a situation where, and I think Mr. Max brought it up, and I would like now to engage this with Mr. Max. You brought a point where you are engaged in a situation where people were demanding for land. Maybe you can tell us about it just a little bit so that we can get a bit personal with this and understand how things work on the ground.
Okay, thank you. As it stands right now in Namibia, we have what we call the land crisis, or rather, in my opinion, we do not have the land crisis, but we just have a leadership crisis, and they do not know how to deal with the land issue.
Okay.
So a few weeks ago, I think the people in Okahanja, they started to grab land because for so long, I mean, it's ridiculous that after 30 years of independence or political freedom, we do not own land, or we do not have a place where we call home. So these people decided to grab land because, I mean, it's an in-birth right. It's stated in the constitution that as long as you are a Namibian, you have the right to own land. And I mean, it should be the government's responsibility to avail land to the people. So these people decided to grab land, and then obviously the local authority deemed this act as illegal. So they decided to grab land, and then obviously because we are the Landless People's Movement, I think people tend to sympathize with more because we are also fighting for the land crisis or for the land issue in Namibia. So they decided to call us. And then we went to engage them on to follow the right procedures.
Okay.
And which they did. So I think 2 weeks, and then after that, because I think that really caused attention with the governor of the region as well as the local authority councillors. So they decided to actually have a community meeting with these people, engage the people, and then they were promised that each and every person was going to be given land.
Okay.
So we all know politicians in Africa are the same. They lie, they do not fulfill their promises.
Yeah.
So that's basically what happened. And now people have been waiting for land. They've not been provided with it. So I think on Friday, they decided to go back to the same place and then erect their shacks. So what the governor and the local authority councillors did, they called the police onto the people, and then the leading activists were actually arrested. So as we speak now, one of the activists is in jail, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I think 2 or 3 were released on bail and on today morning, and also interestingly, these people actually have decided to register with the ECN, which is the Electoral Commission of Namibia. So they're also going to partake in the local authorities election that is scheduled late in November. And this just shows that actually that it's time, like Maximilian was alluding, that is actually time that African youth actually participate in political discourse, and it's also time that they are under proper structures so that they are able to fully participate in political processes and also decision making. Yeah.
Brilliant. So interestingly, when we were talking about this, Maximilian did have a different perspective, and I enjoyed a lot listening to him. Mr. Maximilian, can you come in, please?
He's from the opposition, so
yeah, he is.
I know. I think.
Yeah.
No, I think Peter. I think you did not perhaps interpret the interaction between me and Dominga correctly. I think it was coming off from a joking perspective,
and I love the joke.
And I think we are from opposing parties. I am from the official opposition. Dominga is from a relatively new party. Maybe they want our spot in the next election. We don't know. But I think we both agree on principle, both me and Dominga, that the land question is overdue. As young people, it's a generational mission to ensure that Namibians have a decent, adequate facility that they can call home.
Yes.
And that is why, even as the Popular Democratic Movement, a party that is sort of viewed as a center-right party, that is perhaps more on the free market side of the ideology of things, we have even went as far as adopting a leftist policy of saying one Namibian, one plot. That policy effectively gives every single Namibian who earns less than 4,500 Namibian dollars a free plot wherever they can set up and build a decent home for themselves. This is outlined quite clearly in the PDM manifesto that the land question really is a taking time in Namibia. We cannot allow it to continue this far, whether you are a free market party, whether you're on the left, whether you're on the center, whether
Yes.
you're on the extreme rights and lefts. The
Yes.
land question is overdue and citizens are frustrated. So this is at least one point in terms of the ideology of things between our different political parties, that we can come to a consensus and say that the land question is overdue and it needs to be solved, no matter what political party you come from. But we are very cognizant. We are
Yes.
very cognizant colleagues. That it's a very complicated issue in Namibia,
Yes.
and particularly because the constitution itself it allows that section. Is it section 19, article 16 of the Namibian constitution, which is in regards to property. It protects the property rights of the former colonizers,
Yes.
which says that every Namibian has the right to own land. You do not have the right to just dispossess land as you want.
Yes.
And it's quite a controversial article, and it goes further as saying that article cannot be amended unless a referendum is called or something like that. So it's a complicated matter, Peter, and we are trying to resolve it as Namibians. And I'm sure, particularly during these local and regional authority elections,
Yes.
it's going to be one of the main points where if you are not as a party addressing the land question
Yes.
with proper targetability,
Yes.
voters are not really going to
Very
vote for you.
good. Very good. Well, it's interesting to see that, irrespective of the fact that you guys are coming from different parties, you can agree on principle and virtue. So that is amazing,
Yes.
and I think this is what this is the energy that young people bring in on the table, especially on the political platform. So thank you very much for that. And I think our gentleman from Uganda, are you still there, Mr. Derek?
Yes, I'm still here.
Thank you, Chief. So I think you guys are facing a similar problem in Uganda, and especially when we speak about the Ugandan economy, it has been having a lot of challenges. It has been deteriorating, and I think also now with the impact of Corona, things could be worsening there. Now, as young people, what kind of what policies are you guys planning to adopt, especially with your party, or what is on the forefront of your manifesto? What is the pillar of your manifesto to ensure that young people are actively involved in building or restoring or strengthening the economy of Uganda once again?
As for the People Power Movement and the National Unity, the first thing, our leader being a youth,
yes,
our presidential being a youth,
yes,
who has inspired young people to come into politics. The young people being 75%, have
yes.
also
We have lost you a bit, Mr. Derek.
The people have taken it to them that they are going to be involved
Yes.
in whatever decision level that is going to be made. And this has inspired so many of them to participate and to contest in different positions.
Yes.
And like I told you, Uganda has some of the best policies on paper, but they are not implemented.
Very
and
true.
all this time we are looking at having the best option.
Yes.
And we look at implementing some of the best policies that we have on paper. And we think that the young people would be the best option to be implemented. We do not take ourselves to be the opposition because we have had the opposition before. But the movement has more called upon the young people to join and take over the leadership positions. So we take ourselves to be the option whereby there are no hospitals, there are no drugs in the hospitals, there are poor roads, there are no schools. So we want to prove to the world that we can have a Uganda where there are good hospitals, where there are institutions that can work, where that there are policies that can benefit even the common man. And the young people this time have agreed. We do not want to be that kind of young people who will team up to put up posters, to shout at a politician. This time we want every young people to be involved in the decision making of their country. Well, we have so many policies that we think we are going to bring on table.
Yes.
And very soon we are opening up our manifesto to everybody because we all very know that it's in Uganda whereby the government introduced OTT on social media.
Yes.
So that this limits young people from accessing information, from participating in education, research, creating jobs online.
Yes.
So government, so we look at improving of some of these things, including even the land. We have land issues. Just recently, a church was broken down in times of COVID, where government had come up openly to say that no breaking down or no removing people
Okay.
from wherever they are, from whatever land they are occupying. But we saw to it that it's this time the church was broken, just in the middle of the city and protected by police. And so all we are requesting for, and all that the young people have teamed up to raise their voices, is that we can improve or we can do better. And all we are requesting for is that chance as the young people to show the world that as it is working out elsewhere, it can work out here in Uganda as well. With our leader, Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Bobi Wine,
yes.
being a young person, he has inspired and motivated so many young people. Amidst all the challenges of finance, state targeting, and so many other challenges that the young people pass through, we think this time the young people deserve to have a good environment they can work in. They need to access loans, so to be able for them to participate in business,
yes.
To support their innovations. So this time we think it has never been there before, for us to take over a government that has been there in 35 years. We are also inspired by so many people, like in Sudan.
Okay.
There were young people who started the movement and it ended up where it is right now. They
yes.
had to overthrow a dictatorial government.
Yes.
Same applies to Malawi, I guess. It's the young people that are taking over this percentage. So Uganda this time believes we are taking over, we are raising our voices. As young people, we are participating
yes.
in every level of influence.
Brilliant. 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 Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Kalemo, we do have 25 minutes or so remaining, and so I'm gonna try my best to touch on everybody's point, and I'll start with Mr. Joseph. Now, suppose, because I know very soon, in the very possible near future, you'll also be in the seat, or you'll be vying for a position, or you'll be pushing someone on the forefront to be elected as a youth. Now, in your position, what do you think as a youth? What do you think the youth needs to do in order to be part of the political engagement? You know, what do you think is lacking? What do you think is the gap that we need to fill in order for the youth to be active? Mr. Joseph. Okay, I think I'm gonna hold on there. Are you still there, Mr. Madalitso?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, well, perfectly. Well, I'm gonna jump to you now because I think Comrade Joseph is having a bit of technical challenges there. And so you've been involved. I was looking at the work that you've been doing as a human rights defender. You've been doing a tremendously good job. Now, my biggest question is, and actually the biggest challenge that we face as young people, is the government uses state machinery to keep young people, behind. For instance, if you look at Kenya, I'll give you an example because it's my homeland. You see that the government uses the office of the DCI, Directorate of Criminal Investigation, to stop young people from voicing out their concerns. Now, as a human rights defender, how can young people protect themselves? And I'm using the word protect due to a lack of better word. How can we protect ourselves from such from the big hand of the government? In Kenya, we call it mkono mrefu wa serikali.
Okay, thanks very much. It's quite very tricky, of course,
Yes.
but I think I'll try to share my view based on my experience. It's very true that I think government uses state machineries
Yes.
to suppress young people's voice. I think that's why when we say young people's inclusion, we
Yes.
don't only mean appointment of positions, no. But what we're saying is young people should also be involved in decision making.
Yes.
In this case, if I'm part of the employee of one of the state machinery bodies, I should be able to question to say, no, what is the motive behind this measure?
Yes.
I think going forward to say, how do we protect young people from being swallowed either or being suppressed by these state machineries? Number one, I think the best aspect that we could do as young people is to demand reforms in the state machinery. I think that could be a very, very first aspect. Why am I saying so? You would find that the reason behind why government uses such kind of state machinery is because they know for sure that I think we are powerless. We have no hand at it. But if in this case we are included, let me say I'm part of the intelligence authority.
Okay.
I could be able to say, no, I think I have a mandate to play in this case. The motive behind using intelligence authority to suppress young people's voice in ABCDE, I think is wrong. Can we strategize on using this one? So first of all, we have to look at reforms. Because if you look at most of these state machineries, you find that the reforms that are there are quite outdated.
Yes.
I'll give you a very good example of the Malayan setup. And I think even the Zimbabwe setup. I've been following the incidents that have been happening in Zimbabwe. So you find that such kind of state machineries, they are outdated in terms of reforms.
Yes.
And this explains why you find that the government finds it very easy to use such kind of state machineries to suppress us.
Yes.
So the first thing that as young people have to do is advocate for reforms. We could be asking each other to say, what time is the right time for us to advocate for reforms? For the sake of Malawi, I would say this is the right time. Because the current we have the new government, which is flexible enough to both the young people and even the elder as well. This is the right time for us to demand reforms in such kind of state machineries.
Yes.
If you talk of countries like Zimbabwe, which is currently undergoing through a very tough time,
yes,
we would talk of taking to the streets as one of the strategy.
Brilliant.
That much I'm very much aware. I'm telling you, if you look at Malawi, the government is very much powerful than we were. But I think constitution-wise, we are very strong enough than they were.
Yes.
That's why you saw us, I think, dating the streets day by day.
Yes.
So I'm talking about the issue of reform. Secondly, I think one thing that I think you young people need to do to protect from themselves from this machinery is to be self-issue based in terms of advocacy. Because I know such kind of machineries, they easily swallow up young people.
Yes.
And it's not even a hidden secret. It's true.
Yes.
Everywhere. It's everywhere. I was about to be swallowed as well. I think I can confess. I was about to be swallowed as well. But I think I stood my ground.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's high time that we fight self-issue based advocacy on your own. How do you feel this? Because this thing is about mindset. Right?
Yes.
The fact that the government machinery is too strong to swallow me, but I also have to be too strong.
Yes.
Right? I think the third point that I think I would feel is quite very vital for us young people in as far as protecting ourselves is consent. Number one could be, number three could be collaboration. As we are here, we are meeting here from different networks, right?
Yes.
We have got the movement by my colleague from Uganda.
Yes.
Is it Uganda or Rwanda, if not mistaken?
Mr. Joseph is from Zambia. Oh, Derek is from Uganda.
Yes,
Uganda.
Yeah. Yeah, Derek. We have Joseph, my colleague, Maxwell,
Maximilian.
Sorry, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Collaboration, I think, is also key in as far as fighting such kind of impunity is concerned.
Yes.
There are times when I think we fight these struggles in isolation.
Yes.
But if you can team up, I'm telling you, we hold a very better future for us to protect ourselves from such kind of instances. Otherwise, I think this is what I can say in as far as protecting ourselves from being swallowed from the government machinery is concerned.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Mr. Madalitso. Now coming to you. Okay, I think she just left. Mr. Joseph, are you back? Okay, Mr. Joseph is not back yet. Mr. Maximilian.
Yes, Peter.
Yes, your closing remarks, please, sir.
I want to continue where Mr. Madalitso left off.
Yes, sir.
In as much as we are advocating for the positioning of youth in respective political parties,
yes,
in as much as we are saying that youth must lead from the front, we have a thing of us as youth, when we get into these different powerful positions in our different political parties, we then start victimizing each other. What do I mean? now currently we have a very young caucus in parliament of young people. One lady is from the Landless People's Movement, another is from a party, and there's also a young deputy minister from the Sober Party. But there is no coalition between these young caucus in parliament to work together to bring forward a developmental plan for the young people. So it seems like we are fighting young people at the fore while we are out of power. But once we get into power into a different political parties, we then start victimizing each other, and we then start fighting for the agenda of our political parties, but not for the agenda of young people. So when we go to those positions of power in parliament, in councils, in regional councils, and so forth, let us remember that the mandate that sent us there was the mandate of young people and not necessarily the mandate of our different political parties. Because we must remember that Africa is in a very special space. Africa is in a developmental stage. We are not at that stage where we must disagree as young people. We are at that stage where young people must have the same agenda so that we can pull out Africa from the pits that it's in now. So that is what is very important, that young people, irrespective of the political parties we are in, we must work together and must always remember, irrespective of whatever political party you come from, that there is a youth agenda before there is a party agenda.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Mrs. Dominga, may I come to you, please?
Yes.
Your closing remarks.
I think it's very important, firstly, that we understand the nature in which youth operate in. I think it's very important that first and foremost, we create sort of a conducive environment in which the youth can freely participate so that they are more involved in decision making and in political processes. I think there are some of the factors actually which determines on how youth can participate in political processes. And then one of the factors, obviously, it's the link to patriarchy. I mean, I'm the only woman that's in this panel discussion. Then that should obviously speak volume that we should not see politics as a male thing, but actually it should be inclusive of all female counterparts. And that's the reason why more females are not involved in political processes or discourse. And then one of them also that we need to ensure, it's obviously to increase the social mobility of our people, of the masses. So I think it's important that people shift in terms of their individual statuses. That will obviously encourage more youth or more people per se to participate in political processes. And then another thing has to do with social relations of gender. I think it's important that both genders are given the same opportunity. They are all seen as human beings, and not one is important than the rest. And it's also important that we just do not wheelbarrow the youth, but we actually elect competent people that will be able to transform the social and political sector in the country. So yeah, those are my last remarks.
Oh, brilliant. I hope we can be able to have more ladies in the next discussion. And yeah, thank you very much for pointing that out. So Mr. Derek from Uganda, it's been wonderful having you here. And I hope we can be able to interact more with your party as well and see how much we can drive the movement that you're having there and driving change as well. And hope that we can liberate Uganda from the current state of affairs. So please, what is your last remarks?
My last words are, I want to thank all of you, the young people of Africa that have come up to raise voices. We very much know it's not it's not as easy as people think to raise voices in Africa and be heard under so much intimidation, under so much forces by the state. But we still find it that Africa is our home. We need to fight and defend it. We need to see that we bring change in our health structure, in our health system, in agriculture system, the economy. We must raise these voices, and it's us, the young people, that are going to bring this change. Nobody else, but the future belongs to us. So I want to thank you, our host, Peter,
thank you
for
very
calling
much
upon us and bringing.
Yes, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
People, our power.
Power, absolutely. Thank you very much, brother. That I hope we can be able to engage more even after this conversation. Now, Mr. Kalimbwe, the man of the hour, the gentleman who was able to bring us together here. We haven't been able to engage so much today because we do have quite a wide, a galaxy of speakers today. And so we had to maintain and try to juggle with everyone. But please share with us your words of wisdom and your last remarks.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you, Peter, for hosting this event, and obviously all the participants. It's been a thrilling event, and I'm happy that Dominga, Max, and Derek, and everyone else, Madalis, and everyone joined in. It's a great conversation. I was having some internet problems, but then I'm back and I'm watching. It's incredible that we're bringing in young people that are talented to speak about issues that we're facing across the continent and to engage robustly about these issues and how we can be able to solve them. I wasn't active as in my explanations in terms of what we are doing on the ground here, but we're very clear in terms of our agenda for the elections, which are coming up next year, and in terms of having seen that the current regime was outstayed, and we want them to take a break and bring in a new wave of leadership to take our country forward. So it's an honor to have all of you here and to hear your views, and we're proud that we're having young people engage and bring their ideas to the table and engage on a larger scale. And we're hoping that going forward, Peter, also we are learning a great deal of experience from these passionate young people, and it's a great platform to be able to join all of you and engage. So I'm happy that you accepted this platform to speak about the issues that you are passionate about, and going forward, I hope in the next conversation you'll be able to bring us equally talented young people on this platform. So thank you. I'm happy to see you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Joseph. Mr. Madalito, I'll give you another 1 minute if you have anything for the closure.
Wow, thanks very much, Peter. Mine, I think, is just an appreciation that I think we had this very, very important engagement. I think they should not end here, but I think we should continue engaging. While some of us are celebrating a victory, there are other countries which are undergoing a very difficult time, of which it should not only be us, Malawi, but should be able to support other networks as well, who are going a very tough period. Like the way how Zimbabwe is, they need our support. Like the situation that the likes of Max Marian are going, they need our support. So it's Derek and even Joseph as well, and so my sister there. We need to have a collaborative effort that will not only end at this discussion, but at a wider extent. I'm available always whenever I think you need my attention. I think I'll also be very available as well to contribute to various issues that might come along. Otherwise, thank you all for partaking this important event. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Well, I have to say I'm deeply humbled by this opportunity you guys gave me to host for you. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to exercise what I love, which is connecting with people from my motherland, being very far away from home at the moment. And also it's equally humbling because despite the fact that, we are still incomplete, we are work in progress, we still create a space where people like us, people who have a vision, people who have a goal, and people who have a dream are able to come together and empower each other. So I have to tell you that I'm deeply empowered today, and I can feel the energy from all of you. And I hope we can be able to go on with these discussions and to just keep building. Today we have set up a foundation, and so I hope next time we can be able to come and keep building this, because I think there is a real opportunity for us to expand this network, for us to expand these conversations, and for there to have a tangible goal or a tangible outcome that will result from this. So first of all, I wanna wish all the best to all the contestants there, Mr. Derek, Madam Dominga, those who are contesting for elections. I don't know if Maximilian, you're contesting or not. You did not make that clear. But whoever is contesting, I want to wish you all the best. And I hope you have a wonderful Saturday afternoon, and see you next time.
No, thank you.
See you next time.
All right, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Kalimbo. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Joseph. Okay, he's gone. Okay.